I visited a different reality. What I saw in our future will blow your mind. It changed me forever. A post by luminous_83 on the astral projection subreddit. I had a dream, the kind where you wake up wondering if your brain just got hacked by some higher power. It was so vivid, so real, that I'm still not convinced I didn't accidentally astral project into an alternate reality. And in this dream, something incredible happened. The world changed overnight. No warning, no memo from the universe, just boom, a complete cosmic shift. It wasn't an apocalypse, praise the stars. No zombies, no asteroids hurling towards us, and no sudden shortages of bacon. It was something far more extraordinary. We remembered that we weren't separate. Let that sink in for a second. All the walls we'd built around ourselves, the ones that make us think we're little islands floating alone in a vast ocean, disappeared. And suddenly, we could feel each other's emotions. All of them. Raw, unfiltered, and frankly overwhelming as hell. Imagine scrolling through everyone's emotional Facebook post at the same time, but instead of just watching it, you feel it. Yeah, it was like that. The first moments of connection, it started small. I woke up in the dream and thought, something feels different. I couldn't put my finger on it until I picked up my cup of tea and immediately burst into tears. Not because the tea was bad, but because my neighbor 3 doors down was having a full-blown existential crisis over her cat ignoring her, and somehow I was feeling it. As I stepped outside, it was like someone cranked the emotional dial to 100, then tossed away the knob. I felt the triumph of a woman who parallel parked on the first try. I felt the existential despair of someone opening a bag of chips and realizing it was mostly air. I could feel the anger of a barista dealing with their third Karen of the day, trying to stay composed while the universe silently made them the punching bag for all human frustration. I felt the excitement of a child discovering their first rainbow. It was like being thrown into a pool of everyone's feelings. And let me tell you, it was deep, really deep. The great emotional cascade. At first, it was chaotic, utterly chaotic. People were stumbling out of their homes, clutching their chests like they'd just run a marathon, while simultaneously having an emotional breakdown. One guy in his pajamas was sitting on the curb, alternating between sobs and giggles. I can feel the joy of a toddler who just learned how to say car, and the stress of a mom trying to get him to sleep, he shouted. He pointed at a trash can. That trash can? It's feeling betrayed because it hasn't been emptied in 2 days. It's working through it, though. I'm pretty sure that trash can is my spirit animal now. But it wasn't all bad. Sure, it was overwhelming, like drinking 5 Red Bulls and then trying to meditate. But it was also strangely beautiful. You couldn't hide anymore. Everyone's walls came crashing down, and there was no room for pretending. It was raw, messy, and so real. The death of bullshit. Let me tell you, bullshit died that day, completely, forever. You couldn't fake anything anymore. If someone said I'm fine while internally spiraling, you knew. If a politician gave a speech full of empty promises, their guilt practically slapped you in the face. CEOs couldn't hide behind team-building initiatives while exploiting workers because the emotional backlash hit them like a freight train. Even Instagram became unrecognizable. Gone were the hashtag blessed posts and fake smiles. If someone tried to post a beach selfie while secretly crying over the credit card debt, the truth radiated like neon. Influencers quit en masse because you couldn't sell protein powder while feeling dead inside. It didn't vibe anymore. I called it the hug apocalypse, because then came the hugs. Oh, the hugs. It started when someone decided to just hug it out. And let me tell you, it spread faster than a fart in a crowded elevator. Strangers were hugging in grocery stores. People were hugging delivery drivers. Neighbors ran out and hugged her mailman. So hard, he dropped her Amazon package. It didn't matter. Everyone just needed to connect. Even anger became productive. Someone would yell, "I'm mad at you." And the other person would reply, "I know, and I feel it, and I'm sorry." And suddenly, they'd be sobbing in each other's arms. Road rage? Gone. You couldn't honk at someone without feeling their childhood trauma, and let me tell you, that changes things. The collapse of greed and exploitation. Here's where things got really interesting. Greed couldn't survive. It wasn't just unethical anymore. It was physically unbearable. Imagine being a billionaire and suddenly feeling the despair of every underpaid worker who made your lifestyle possible. Jeff Bezos probably curled into the fetal position for a week. War stopped overnight. Pollution slowed, then stopped. You couldn't bomb a village or dump waste into a river because the emotional toll would knock you out cold. Entire industries collapsed. But no one cared because we realized that what we really wanted wasn't money. It was connection. With greed gone, humanity turned its attention to healing. And holy shit did we need it. People who had carried trauma for decades finally let it out because they knew they weren't alone. Therapy sessions turned into group hug marathons. Grief became a shared experience, not a lonely burden. And the earth? Oh, the earth thrived. We could feel the trees breathing, the oceans sighing, the mountains standing tall and steady above us. People planted trees, cleaned rivers, and stopped being assholes to the planet, not because they had to, but because it felt right. When I woke up from the dream, tears were streaming down my face, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming beauty of what I had seen. It wasn't just a dream, it was a glimpse of what we could be, and the most heart-wrenching part, it felt possible, tangible, like a forgotten truth buried deep within us, waiting to be remembered. Imagine waking up every day in a world where kindness wasn't the exception, it was the rule, where no one had to scream into the void for attention because everyone was already listening. A world where pain wasn't something to be hidden or judged, but something to be held and shared until it softened and dissolved in the light of collective compassion. In this world, love wasn't just a fleeting emotion, it was a force. It was woven into every interaction, every decision. People weren't afraid to show their hearts because vulnerability wasn't a risk anymore. It was a bridge. Relationships were deeper, richer, more honest. There were no games, no second guessing, no, what did they mean by that text nonsense, just pure, raw connection. Conflict still existed, of course, it did, but it was different. You couldn't hate someone when you could feel their fear, their sorrow, their hope. Arguments became opportunities for understanding, not battlegrounds. Leaders didn't rule with power, they guided with empathy, feeling the weight of every decision in their hearts. Imagine a government that didn't act out of greed or ambition, but from a deep sense of responsibility to every soul it served. Imagine policy shaped not by profit, but by love. And creativity, oh, the creativity. Art flourished like never before because every painting, every song, every story carried the weight of collective emotion. You didn't just watch a movie, you felt it, lived it, breathed it. Every human being became an artist, weaving their emotions into something beautiful, something real. Earth began to heal. We treated nature not as something separate, but as an extension of ourselves. Pollution stopped because no one could bear to feel the earth's pain anymore. We planted trees, cleaned rivers, restored the soil, not out of obligation, but because it felt right, because it felt like healing, a part of ourselves. And loneliness? It vanished. Not because everyone was suddenly surrounded by people, but because we finally understood that we were never truly alone. Every emotion we felt was shared, echoed, and understood. People who had spent their lives feeling invisible, unworthy, or unloved suddenly found themselves wrapped in a tapestry of connection. Imagine the relief of knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that you mattered, that your joy, your pain, your existence rippled out and touched everyone around you. This world wasn't perfect, but it was alive, fully, vibrantly alive. It wasn't numb or detached or drowning in apathy. It was awake. Every moment mattered because every moment was shared. Every person mattered because every person was felt. When I woke up, I lay there for a long time, staring at the ceiling, wondering why this world couldn't be real. Maybe it could be. Maybe it wasn't just a dream, but a blueprint, a whisper from the universe telling us what we're capable of. What if we stopped pretending we were separate? What if we chose to feel, to connect, to love, not someday, but now? I think about that world constantly. I think about how much lighter our hearts would feel, how much kinder we'd be to ourselves and each other. I think about the beauty we could create, the lives we could transform, the healing we could finally begin, and I wonder, what are we waiting for? I don't know what it was, and I'm still processing it all, but it was real and so much more tangible than everyday reality. And I just have this deep urge to tell everyone about it and share it with people in hope that it would plant a seed of something that could become reality.